Hello, and thank you for this opportunity to speak to you all. Thank you, Congressman Pittinger, and all the honorable MPs from all around the world, and everyone behind the scenes who made this great event possible. Thank you, Anne, for leading the Human Trafficking Task Force and this panel. In the introduction on the booklet, it says, I am a Chinese Uyghur. I would like to correct that. I am Uyghur. We are not Chinese ethnically. And because we have our own language, culture, and our religion, which is the reason today my people are facing full-speed active genocide by the Chinese regime. Beijing's ultra-nationalistic policies combined with racism and cutting-edge technology in our homeland have been confirmed not only through Beijing's own leaked documents, time after time, but also by hundreds of experts and the survivors' testimonies. This pressing issue of human trafficking is one that I can relate to beyond a professional manner. It is a personal cause for me that's affecting my people with all aspects of it. I am speaking today out of necessity. I'm a mother who had a fulfilling life with a successful career. I never thought I would quit my job and become a full-time activist. And I never thought I would have to fight for my own sister's freedom. And I never thought in the 21st century, China will conduct a genocide on your watch. And China is completing this genocide with concentration camps and the modern slavery. In 2018, my sister, Dr. Rushan Abbas, was taken by the Chinese regime as a hostage 6 days after I give my first public speech, participating on a panel like this in Hudson Institute, one of the think tanks in Washington, D.C., talking about China's genocidal policies and outlining the fate of my in-laws. Today, I am advocating for my people and speaking to you at the cost of my own sister's freedom. My sister is a retired medical doctor, and she's a kind, peaceful, non-political person. When I raised her case, when I became very vocal in the media, the Chinese state media accused me for stealing other people's photo and claiming my missing relatives and spreading rumors about China. Then, a year and a half later, in Christmas Day 2020, the Chinese Foreign Ministry confirmed that she was charged in 20 years in the prison terms in a terrorism-related charges with no trial, no evidence, no proof of life, and no information on her whereabouts. It's almost 4 years now. With Beijing's genocide, Uyghurs have been subject to state-sanctioned human trafficking and atrocities. Millions of Uyghurs are held in concentration camps where they are subject to harsh indoctrination and torture. Almost 1 million Uyghur children are taken to state-run orphanages. China has made Uyghur women's bodies a battleground of this genocide with forced sterilizations, forced abortions, as well as physical and sexual torture. They are facing government-sponsored mass rape under the name of forced marriages, while the regime offering Chinese men money, housing, and the jobs to marry those Uyghur girls. If the Uyghur women refuse such forced marriages, they are sent to the concentration camps and labeled as Islamic extremists who refuse to marry non-Muslim Chinese? Where are the feminists supposedly protecting women's rights while Uyghur women are facing rape on their own beds? Yes, you heard me right. On their own home, on their own beds. The Chinese state media reported 1.1 million Han Chinese cadres, mostly men, deployed into Uyghur homes and live inside of their houses, supervise and monitor their daily lives. And the Uyghur women are facing sexual abuse in their own bed, in their own homes. Where are the respected religious leaders while China is calling your faith, Islam and any other religion, a mental disease and a cancer to cure for? Chinese government's war on humanity is blatant. It is a war on women and the children. It is a war on religion and the free thought. It is a war on human dignity and freedom and democracy. I recently heard someone saying that, quote, if we don't end the dictatorships will end us, unquote. The crimes committed by Russia against Ukraine is an example of what happens when we continue to appease a dictatorship government and refuse to take action. What China is doing to Uyghurs can be seen as a testing ground for what they wish to do to the world. What we are witnessing today to the Uyghurs is not something that's happening thousands of kilometers away within China's borders, and nothing to do with us. Don't think that, because Chinese government is here, in Europe, in the West, in the Middle East, in Central Asia, Southeast Asia. They are everywhere. China is a threat to the world, threat to our fundamental rights and freedom and democracy. Everyone is silent, from Hollywood celebrities to Muslim kings and the CEOs, profiting from genocide of my people and making the Chinese genocide a profitable venture. No one has the guts to condemn Chinese genocide. You know why? Because China's blood money from my people's sweat and tears. Not just that, the blood money from innocent Uyghurs' body parts from forced organ harvesting. What does that mean when you see these heads of the states, leaders, corporations, NBA, FIFA, academia, celebrities and talk show hosts, who are usually so vocal against any kind of social injustice, are voiceless when the perpetrator is China? The world leaders willingly self-censor because of the profit they are making from China. And that's a threat for democracy and the freedom the world worked so hard to establish for the past 70 years. These leaders are not just giving up their freedom of expression and freedom of speech, but for the long run, eventually they are giving up their sovereignty. When it comes to the global effect of human trafficking, Uyghur forced labor is one of the largest forms today, and it's double dangerous due to its state-sponsored nature. Report after report has shown that 20% of the world cotton supply, 1 out of every 5 garments, would be tainted by Uyghur slaves' forced labor. Because of the genocidal policies of the Chinese regime, Uyghurs have been made dispensable, cheap labor, transferred around China as the government and its state enterprises please. In 2021 alone, Dr. Adrian Zanz of Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation in Washington noted an estimated 3 million Uyghur forced labor transfers occurring. Companies using Uyghur slaves, turning you and myself complicit with China's genocide. My sister, Dr. Rushan Abbas, could be making your shirt that's on your back. Famous Uyghur writers, professors, successful business people, philanthropists, and the pop stars could be picking your cotton. There are perpetrators and the enablers of this genocide. China is the perpetrator, and those companies using forced labor are turning all of us, the enablers, while we use their products. Ever since the UFLPA, the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, came into effect, most, if not all, have been focused on how detrimental that could be to the consumers or the companies. We need to remember and never forget that genocide and the slavery is our red line. No item should ever enter Europe's borders that are made with slave labor. China is attempting to export their worldview and authoritarian system globally. What China is doing to my people, to Tibetans, Hong Kongers, is a preview of what we will see should we allow China to continue their crimes. If we allow China to continue its path, the world that has been built on the foundation of freedom and the democracy and the human rights will be dismantled before our very eyes. If we do not face China's regime today and hold China accountable for the genocide, it will be your children and the grandchildren that will deal with the consequences of an illiberal world. Thank you.